Hello and welcome back to the Finger Guns podcast with Tony, Dave, and James. This is your fearless intro leader. I'm going to call myself from now on. Jimmy, Big Jimmy. Coming in, Big Jim. Big Jim swimming. Swimming? Swinging.
Swimming Jim. Big Jim is Jim Cameron. You can't take his name.
Fuck, that's right. Yeah, no, he still owes me a slap across the face anyway.
You could be Jimmy Swimming, or
I'll be Jimmy Jr.
Yeah, you be Jimmy Jr.
And as always, I'm joined with
Big Tasty Tony P.
Excellent.
And disheveled Dave.
Disheveled Dave.
I'm very disheveled.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Need
I
a
feel
fucking
like
haircut, boss.
You do, yeah.
And my beard is starting to kind of like go into my mouth.
Yeah, the
I
beard.
don't think I can see your upper lip, pal.
What's up?
Yeah, the beard I was less concerned about. The hair growing over your ears and heading towards mullet land, I am getting slightly concerned about.
I was thinking about just shaving it.
Do it.
I might.
Just the sides, though.
Just the sides?
Yeah.
Leave the top?
Yeah. Leave a proper mullet.
I was trying to grow it for you, man.
What?
I was trying to grow it out for you.
In solidarity with the lack of my hair? What?
So you could take it.
Oh, so you're making a wig for me. I greatly appreciate that.
I hope so.
I
hope so.
It's a little more salt and peppery than I think I'd like.
Hey, beggars can't be choosers. Right?
Yeah, at this point,
the only one offering
at the game, like I don't know,
what the
man.
fuck?
Fine. That's fine. Yeah. We got a big one tonight.
Yes.
We're changing up formats because we got too many fucking movies to talk about today.
Woo!
So you want to get into it? You want to do some shit?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's get it. Finger guns. All right. So the first bit, I think we're going to jump right into our coverage of Hot Docs, the Toronto Hot Docs Film Festival.
Yes, the 30th anniversary. Good
Big
for
30.
them. Good for them. It just ended yesterday.
Yeah.
I believe by the time you listen to this will be the last day to watch them online.
Correct.
But we got a handful of screeners.
Yep.
We didn't go as hard as last year. But we got a handful, good handful. So Tony, you were the one that kept us going on this. Start us off.
Dealer's choice, buddy. You pick one.
Let's go with one that I know I just watched.
Yeah.
Because you guys don't like 3-hour documentaries.
Certainly don't.
This is true.
That is the American Gladiators documentary.
Yeah.
I love that that's
ESPN's 30 for 30.
I love that that's the title.
Yeah, it's just a pretty dope title.
I saw that runtime and went, that one's Tony only. I can't.
And
I'm not committing to 3 hours of a doc.
I can really sum this up for you. I don't even need to go into great detail.
TLDR. Okay,
All
go.
right?
Yeah.
It is literally from how it was introduced,
Yeah.
the rise,
Yeah.
the fall,
Yeah.
the reboot,
Yeah.
the fall,
Yeah.
and the future.
Great.
Well, it's a 2-part documentary. Isn't
It is a 2-part documentary, and I'm glad that it was
Oh.
a 2-part documentary because
does it cut?
it does cut. It does cut. It cuts right in the middle, so I could just hit pause and
come back and treat it like a 2-parter.
Exactly,
Okay. Because I was going to say, like,
exactly.
3 hours is egregiously long for a doc, but a 2-part makes sense.
2 parts for sure. And this was really nostalgic for me because I remember coming home from school and seeing reruns of American Gladiators on like TBS and like Fox and like that kind of thing back in the day.
Wasn't it on Spike? That seems like
It
something
was
would
on.
be
It was definitely on Spike. That's definitely where I watched it for sure. It was pretty great. I'm not gonna lie. It was a little bit long-winded in parts and stuff. But what I really enjoyed, because it was very timely, was the fact that they said how American Gladiators came to be on air, and it was around the time the writer's strike was happening in the 1988, right? So
that was like the worst one. too.
yeah. So they needed content, hence American Gladiators was born.
Right.
Goes on,
Competition. Yeah.
goes on for seven seasons, gets canceled. Everyone's really upset about it.
Sure.
And then fast forward to 2008, and another writer strike's going on. They need content. Why not reboot American Gladiators?
Right.
Falls flat on its face.
Of course.
But it's really funny because now, as we are in the midst of another writer strike,
It's true.
look out, you never know. September.
Yeah, and you know, like in
American
that
Gladiators.
vein too. interestingly enough, there's been like sort of like a rebirth or a rise of sort of physical activity shows. Like Physical 100 was huge.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. And the what was the other one? The
Tough
Rock.
as nails.
Tough as nails.
The Rock had one
The Rock
too
one,
yeah.
that I
Yes,
was
The
really
Rock had one, yeah.
that I was really into as well. And but switching back to American Gladiators and just really like diving deep into what was American Gladiators, and it reminded me a lot of WWE and like what wrestlers go through and everything, because like this guy John Fierro who led American Gladiators, he was just a big like Elvis impersonating Vince McMahon at the end of the day.
Cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't really pay them properly, doesn't really give them
Sure.
health care, like that kind of thing. He's a real dick.
It was WWE. Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically all I got really to say about it.
Is it true he was an American Gladiator? Did you see him?
No, he did not. I
heard
see
he's
him.
an American Gladiator.
I wouldn't doubt it, man. That's actually really funny. He was not in the documentary.
John C. McGinley. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently he was on American Gladiators.
And that's funny that you say that, because once American Gladiators ended for like for the 7th season, one of the gladiators went to wrestle using the same name as he was as a gladiator. So that was pretty funny.
What was his name?
His name was Malibu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ironically enough, he was the best subject in the documentary.
Mm.
Is it a bad thing that I was going to guess Chris Benoit?
I was going to say Macho Man Randy Savage.
Definitely seek it out. It's I think it comes on at the end of the month on ESPN.
Nice.
Two parts. So
Yep.
it'll be a 2-night thing. And
Awesome.
yeah.
No, it sounds fun.
Wonderful.
I've only vaguely known about American Gladiator, so it seems like something that could be like an interesting.
It's definitely an interesting deep dive into it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed because I didn't really know. I was just a little kid watching fucking reruns and watching bitches get fucked up, basically.
Yeah.
But and to that point, they actually go into like the injuries and stuff, and like how like this guy was on like a catapult, and like, this other guy just comes and fucking swings and kicks him.
Yeah.
What do you think was gonna happen?
Yeah.
He's like, he said his knee hit his chin, and
Of course. Of course.
It's rough. Oh man,
rough.
To seek it out, guys.
Yeah.
Definitely do
All
it.
right. It's on the
rough.
list. Now that I know that it's a 2-parter, it feels very much more chewable than 3 hours.
The OJ documentary, one of the finest documentaries I've ever seen, is like
Sure.
a 10-hour documentary.
Yeah.
It's 5 parts, but it's like 10 hours.
5 parts. We can get behind that.
All right. I'm just saying that's like one of the finest documentaries.
Or you can
I've
just
ever
watch
seen.
The People versus O.J. Simpson. And,
That's even longer.
yeah.
Actually, it might be the same length.
Yeah, but you can really get into it.
That's
With
true.
Cuba.
They came out the same year. Such a good.
It's true. It was a good
That
companion.
was good TV. That was peak TV. But
Where are we heading next?
yeah, what are we hitting next, Tony?
Where do you guys want
If
to
you,
go?
if you can't tell, Tony watched the bulk of these movies. So we're just giving him all the power in this
Yeah.
segment.
Power.
All of it.
I'm letting you guide the conversation.
let's talk a little bit about the mafia.
Lebanese Burger Mafia?
Yeah, the
Ooh.
Burger Mafia.
All right.
Dave, you saw this one, did you not?
I did.
What is Lebanese Burger Mafia?
It is it's kind of tongue in cheek, kind of serious, and it's just about the Burger Baron restaurant chain, which started in Calgary, kind of as like an answer to McDonald's since it hadn't expanded into Canada yet.
Yep.
So what would that be? 50s, 60s?
60s.
60s?
yeah.
And kind of does a deep dive into that, and then kind of goes in a bunch of different directions, which was my issue with it. But then it kind of goes around and you kind of find out that it started with a white guy starting it, but then he sold it to a Lebanese guy, and then
You didn't even sell it.
he didn't even sell
No,
it. He
so
just gave it.
he-
He gave it to him.
Nope.
How did this go?
So he made so I don't remember his name right now.
It was McDonald, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was McDonald.
McDonald. He started the Burger Baron, as a response to McDonald's being in the States, and he saw Canada as like a prime virgin area to expand and really like push into fast food.
Yeah, because
they got there,
McDonald's wasn't getting there yet.
which
right?
he was incredibly successful in the beginning.
Of course.
He made a series of missteps in terms of his management of the chain. Aggressive expansion, no focus on quality or alignment of that quality. And he ended up losing a shitload of money. And so he went bankrupt. His corporation went bankrupt. and that was it. He just stepped back away from it.
Oh, I thought he gave it to the guy.
No, so there was no giving up. So there was nothing. The reason the first Lebanese immigrant that came over and that was able to start a Burger Baron without anything really was because there was nothing stopping him. It was a Burger Baron. There was a chain, and he was able to open another one because there was no protections in place that said you couldn't. You could just take the IP, you could take the logo, you could take the name.
He was franchising it. Wasn't
basically he started,
and then he was giving them to other Lebanese immigrants.
He was giving them, and I put that in big quotations because he had no legal right to do either of that. Like there was no legality around it. They approached him as kind of like in the title implies like a Lebanese burger mafia. So like they approached him as the Don of it just to get his blessing.
Oh yeah, because they call him the Godfather.
Yeah.
No, didn't they call him the Baron?
No, they call him the Godfather.
The Godfather.
Yeah.
They call him the
So
Godfather.
they went to him for a blessing basically to get his permission to do it. But they didn't need his permission legally. They could have just fucking opened a Burger Baron. There was no one stopping anybody.
Yeah.
So
But he had his family running them as well, right?
correct. And that's where it became sort of like an immigrant story, right?
Yeah.
So now we had this one guy who was able to open up a restaurant, and he was able to then bring over, as he made money, he was able to sponsor and bring over some of his relatives.
Wasn't he just doing his relatives
at first, and then would bring them, and they would open, and then that would expand, and it would expand, and it would expand, and it would expand. Yeah.
And then kind of how it kind of fell apart.
Yeah, because the same thing started happening, right? Like it was a corporation that wasn't a corporation, so you could just do whatever you want. There's no quality control, and everybody
had their own menu.
Everybody had their own menu. They had their own ideas, and they were like strong, independent Lebanese men.
Baron that had like the pizza.
Yeah, you got the pizza, you got the donaire guy, you got the guy who had a fucking laundromat attached to it.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
You do your clothes, get a burger. But like there was like staples across the menus. It was just like you could do whatever you want after that. So
the mushroom burger.
Burger.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Looked dope.
Looked pretty dope.
Awesome. I'm glad they gave the recipe because I was like, I kind of wanted this.
Basically cream of mushroom soup.
And
basically.
And some soy and Worcester. Like you spice it up, but basically cream of mushroom soup. And I also
Campbell's cream of mushroom.
True.
Soup.
I also didn't enjoy the fact that that one guy kept calling the burger, oh, it's such a spongy patty. I'm like, well, why are you calling it spongy?
And he had the tattoo.
Of the Burger Baron. I loved it.
I think it was my issue was it wasn't quite linear enough for me, and it kind of kept
it jumped all over.
And then because people were remembering things differently, they're like arguing about it, and it's like, well, this guy said this, and this guy said this, and it's like,
no, I never said that. It's like, well, but didn't you though?
So it got a little tedious.
Yeah.
And then kind of I enjoyed where it kind of like said like, hey, and then all these other fast food restaurants started coming in, and it all fell apart. It all went to shit.
Yeah. And then I mean the sort of the tale as old as anything of like COVID really strapping people down, and like it ended up closing a lot more of those spots. But it was kind of heartening to see that there's still quite a few of them open, still independently owned, still chugging away and just making those burgers. And I honestly kind of want to go out to Alberta and find a Burger Baron and just try this motherfucker.
I definitely need to.
I do as well.
Next time I'm in Alberta.
It was one of those things where it's like, yes, I agree with you in a lot of ways, because like it was meandering. It was a little bit all over the place with its timeline. It lacked a lot of focus, much like the burger chain itself does.
Yeah.
But it's still like it brought this thing of like this. One of the things I love about documentaries is it's able to bring you to like these niche fucking subjects that you would never.
That's true.
Why would I ever think about a fucking burger chain restaurant in Alberta? But I sat there for an hour and a half glued, being like, what is happening?
Seriously,
how does this exist? This is insane.
That's true.
But so I applause for that, for just, bringing something that is super niche and super like really irrelevant to anybody's life except for those in Alberta. But I'm now intrigued. I'm a Burger Baron fan. I've never even had a burger. I just want to go just for the independent spirit of it.
Absolutely.
It's true.
It's
true. There's the other thing. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, I'll build off whatever you say.
The other thing was at the end of the movie, they were talking at the end of the documentary, they were talking about like the second, third generation kids and how they don't want to continue it.
Right.
And I think he could have mined that a little more. I think there was more to it there, because they're kind of like, some of them are talking about how like they feel like they have to because their family, because the family wants to pass it down or the family is sick
Yeah,
type thing.
yeah.
The one guy was in college and then says like,
He
I
came
dropped
back
out
to-
and like I can
yeah.
go back whenever. And it doesn't look like he's going back
Yeah.
whenever type thing.
Or
So I-
even his own brother, who, while he got out of the Burger Baron thing, still stuck with that idea of like,
The
I'm
restaurant.
gonna have a restaurant sort of thing.
Yeah. So it's like, I think there could have been more explored there.
Mm. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. There's definitely more there they could have done, right? Because that's where the story is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
To the future,
especially
of it, yeah.
because he is like
He
didn't
he's
do
the
it.
son, right?
Yeah.
He's the son. He didn't go into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's like outsider
Mm.
watching type thing, and like
Yeah.
I think there could have been more to it there.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So I still I still thought it was entertaining. I thought it was well researched. Like it's still worth watching for all
Yes.
the points you made.
Yeah.
Just like there were just things that I would have
Exactly.
tweaked.
Yeah. Small things.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I enjoyed it. It was a fun 90 minutes or so.
Of course. What do we got next?
Give it to me.
Let's go a little bit biblical
Mm.
and praying for Armageddon.
That was
That was a heavy friggin' doc.
yeah, that was much more political than I thought it
Oh
would be.
man.
Mm.
Also,
Did you watch?
No.
No,
you didn't watch
Okay.
this one?
Did I not?
Praying for Armageddon. It was the
It's about evangelical Christians in the United States and what they're doing, like how they're
No.
preaching their messages.
I did not.
Okay, so it's basically about again
There was two church kind of related ones, so
Yeah.
I was between the two. I couldn't
Of
remember the
course.
title of the other one, but yes, okay, go on.
Okay, so the Christians and kind of the movement,
Yes.
and how they believe that Jerusalem needs to be in Israel's control
Ugh,
in
right.
order to bring about the Armageddon,
Of course.
Yeah.
where Jesus will come back
Yes.
and he will get rid of the,
The end
sinners type thing.
times. Yeah.
with a
Right?
sword.
With
Yeah.
apparent in Revelations,
Swinging a sword.
in
Yeah.
they mention it more than once in Revelations that he's going to come down with a sword. He's going to be
Yeah.
on a horse,
Yeah,
and his
yeah.
robe is going to be like
Covered in blood.
covered in blood up to like the knees of the horse, whatever.
Excellent.
But then they're like, but I don't think it's going to be a sword. It's going to be an AR-15.
It's fucking metal,
and like
man.
that's the poster is Jesus on a horse
Lord
with
Jesus.
an AR-15.
It's pretty fucking aggressive.
Jesus.
Also,
No.
I want to point out that Bible is actually an acronym
Mm.
for basic information before leaving Earth.
Yeah, that was one
Sure.
of the things.
Yeah.
It's just like they play it very straight.
Yeah.
Most of it is there's a good chunk of it that's focused on one specific like biker group of
Right.
Christians,
Yeah.
and then a journalist
Mm.
and kind of like his coverage of the politics of it,
Right.
and then a lot of it has to do with Israel Palestine and the Gaza Strip.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and then like funding, like the money and the guns are coming from the Christians in the States to Israel type thing.
Right.
Kind of
Yeah.
it
So
goes,
they can influence
yeah,
the
yeah.
takeover of
Yeah.
Jerusalem,
and
basically.
then it goes from there, and there's like other different pinpoints, and then they're kind of pointing out that like it's these groups that are kind of like lobbying the Republicans to kind of
Yeah.
like change things up.
Yeah.
Like they have like Roe v. Wade, and then
Right.
I was gonna say abortion. I'm like, that's Roe v. Wade.
yeah.
But just kind of like their influence, because there's 30% of voters are Christian. These evangelical Christians.
Right. Okay.
And we
So-
cover Trump for a bit and like Trump's
Yeah,
reign and
that
what
makes
Trump did
sense.
for
Yeah.
for these guys and everything.
Right. So it is very heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, that little 101 from John Oliver a couple of years ago
Mm.
on the conflict
Yeah.
definitely helped.
Yeah.
I was like,
So-
I remember what this is. I know more about this.
So is it better with a pre-read? Like you take the pre-read course.
You definitely need to have some sort of knowledge of
Israeli-Palestinian relations.
yeah,
and
that
conflict.
conflict
Yeah.
and Gaza Strip. You need
There's
You
a small
need that.
section that's just dedicated
Yeah,
to
yeah.
it.
it's a good chunk of the
it is,
movie.
for sure.
Yeah.
And it's very informative, right?
Cool.
Because like you get to see like Palestine's side of it, right?
Yeah.
Because the evangelical
Mhm.
Christians.
right Christians
Mhm.
are all battling for Israel.
Yeah.
So it's like see what Israel has. You don't really get that in the news, right? You only see that like Israel and Palestine are fighting
at it again,
right?
Yeah.
So it was a nice.
That was something they didn't really talk about either. They didn't really show the media coverage. Like they had the clips, but they didn't really talk about how influence. Like they could have had like a whole thing on Fox News.
For sure.
And our buddy Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, exactly.
Big Tucker C.
But it was really fucking terrifying. Like I was watching this and like I'm just sitting there in horror.
Yeah, it was
because like these guys are serious. You could tell
serious.
they fucking believe in what they're saying.
Of course they do.
Yeah, it was like a horror
Fuck
movie.
evangelicals, man.
Yeah.
It was a horror movie. It was eye-opening. And yeah, I think you should seek it out.
Yeah, okay.
It's not an easy watch, but it seems like a necessary
watch
for
sure.
watch.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that was sobering documentary.
Fuck, that sounds like a cold shower of a doc. But it's the subject matter again is something that I feel like I'm gonna see if I can seek that out and
and it's well done and it's not. I don't think it it's clear which side they're landing on, but like they're not deliberately. Like it's not heavy handed in that side. They're all like they are actively showing the points of view of the evangelicals.
They're just putting it on display, but
they're putting it on display. They're not really commenting.
Got it.
So, but yeah, heavy.
Nice.
Heavy. Tony, do you want to keep on the heaviness? Do we want to talk about Satan Wants You?
Oh geez.
Yeah. Talking about a cold shower. This one, super creepy.
I made the mistake of watching this one late at night. And I had some terrifying nightmares.
I didn't, but at various points of that documentary, it definitely looked at the screen and said, what the fuck? Like, there was so much what the fuckery happening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
As that story progressed. And I think like the filmmakers did such a good job laying that out and just like letting it build in the right way where when you start, I had a feeling because.
So what's it about before you get into
it? Quick summary.
Yeah.
There was a book that came out that I'm blanking on the title about right now.
Michelle
remembers.
Michelle remembers.
Came out in the 80s and was basically the jump off spark point for the satanic panic that happened throughout the 80s into the early 90s. It deals with the actual book, the writing of the book, the memories that it came from, who was responsible for it, and I guess the fallout of it, and what that did to the world at large at the time, through Michelle Smith and her psychiatrist, Dr. Pastor. The way that they spelled this out, where you start off with her actual it's the therapy and it's played very straight and you're like, oh fuck, like did this happen? Like it's convincing to a point of almost being like, oh, I could totally understand why this did what it did, why it led people down this path, because on the surface, on the very top layer of this story, it seems believable enough where you're talking about like a child being abducted and this, and it's after that the story kind of weirdly breaks down, like her story breaks down and becomes very like, what? Like, what? And then as you progress through the documentary and they start giving you more and more of the what the fuckeries of like what was actually probably happening in the background. And then, you know, at one point they make a good case as to why this happened really in the first place. Probably. I mean, we'll never really know for sure, but the fact that like, you know, it starts off by mentioning that she started this therapy session right after she had a miscarriage. And then you listen to all of the things that she comes up with for what happened in her alleged abduction. And you go, Yeah, because she was traumatized by the fact that she had a fucking miscarriage. Like,
And then she was taken advantage of.
and then she was taken advantage of, and I think she was also taking advantage of.
Yeah.
Like, it was
a give and take.
It was a give and take. Like, there was definitely those moments where Dr. Pazder's ex-wife was saying like she was like around all the time and very like
she was always calling,
always showing up at places and like really like trying to infiltrate his life, and he was letting it happen for sure, especially with that fucking photo that they put in that magazine.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh yeah. That was
Anyway, so yes,
I think we've all been in therapy. I don't think we've had this experience.
I've never wanted my therapist to let me cuddle her. What the fuck? Like,
it was just super what the fuck.
Yeah,
what the fucky.
Yeah.
It just got really ick and cringe and just like,
yeah. It was super creepy.
Yeah. To me, I don't know. I look at it and go, okay, yeah. And then the entire Fallout that they covered, which I kind of wish maybe they focused on slightly more. They followed more of what Michelle and Pazder were doing, like the conferences they were going to, and then the police were all jumping on board, and which led to its own fucking whole issue. And then people getting like arrested. But like I felt like they kind of like left some of the Fallout out of like maybe even what happened after all of this. Like they kind of mentioned, I think we had like the text on the screen where it was like some people were arrested and then they were released after like and it was like,
well, there was one thing where they were talking about the daycare. There was a lot about the daycare and abuse at daycares.
Yeah.
And then one of them, she was put in jail because she was forcibly inserting items into the children's orifices. And I'm pretty sure one of them was a sword.
Yeah.
Okay.
One was a sword.
We would have evidence of a sword being put into someone.
No, but Dave, this was all repressed memories.
Oh my God. Like you would like that, like the rest, I'll buy the repressed memories.
Yeah.
I can see myself in that moment. Especially since I have children of my own, I would be like, okay, this is horrifying.
Yeah.
Like, is this happening? But then when they're like, oh yeah, you penetrated with a sword, it's like, okay, we would have evidence of this.
Yeah. And also like
it wouldn't be a memory. We would have physical evidence.
What was that? What was that child therapy session like? Can you point on this doll where they inserted the sword into you? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It was fucking. Yeah, I see why Tony was having nightmares because it's
like I was just not expecting that. And it was just like I was expecting like, you know, like kind of like a thriller kind of thing. No, this was a full on like horror movie and like not like the satanic kind.
It's a pile of dead babies. I was like, a pile?
Yeah, literally. Where are all these babies coming from?
Why is no one saying that they're missing?
Where are the babies coming from?
It's just too much.
Yeah.
It's too much, man.
And then there were certain things where I think they could have introed it a bit better because just like randomly someone from the Church of Satan starts talking. I was like, okay, maybe you should have introed her a little better because it's just like literally it's just like houses or I want to say House of Satan, Church of Satan.
Oh yeah,
and she just says something random, and then later she's like explaining like what the Church of Satan is really and stuff, and like what the positioning was. I was like, okay, well, maybe you should have put that at the beginning.
They also fucking did that to that poor cop. They were like, I was the first Wiccan police officer. What?
Yeah, it was really fucking random.
Yeah. Like it is good. I like how it's built.
Yeah.
I do like the structure of it.
Yeah.
It's non-linear, but I do like the structure of it. I think they could have put in more criteria. They could have tied it better to modern times because they're talking about misinformation on the internet and the rampant how it's they didn't spend getting enough worse again type thing.
They've just briefly touched on like Pizzagate, and then all right, I guess we just move on from Pizzagate.
Yeah, like it doesn't really do anything with it because there's the one journalist who's talking about like I put so much effort into this type thing, debunking it, and now it's happening again. I can't do anything.
Yeah,
like did I waste
like it doesn't
my
even
career
matter.
Type
Yeah.
And it's like, I think you needed more of this.
Yeah.
Like at least to end it off.
Yeah.
Like you can't just be like Pizzagate.
And we're done. And it's like, but Pizzagate, man.
Isn't that dead babies too?
It is. Yeah. It's secret menu items for like the pedophile rings. Yeah. And dead babies and shit.
God.
Yeah. If you order like a specific style of
we're
pizza.
done. We're done.
Yeah.
No more.
All right.
Okay, that one. You should
just
seek it out.
Proceed with caution.
Proceed with caution.
Just
'cause,
understand now
it's-
what you're getting into.
Yeah, like I'm getting a little fucking. Ugh.
Little agina.
Yeah, yeah. Like, oh god.
Let's switch gears
Yeah.
Yeah, something
To
too
what?
happier.
to a nice underdog story.
Yeah.
This is a soccer film called Ali Hoopa, the Dalkirk story.
Cool.
Cool.
Tell me about it.
Okay, it's from the people of Kurdistan.
Kurdistan, yeah.
Kurdistan, right? That used to be a territory,
Mhm.
but now it's split
Right.
into 4 separate sections.
Sure.
That is Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria.
Right.
These people don't have a home to call. They don't have a place to call home,
Right.
and these people form a soccer team in Sweden.
Cool.
As you do.
And it's kind of like Welcome to Wrexham. They start at the bottom,
Oh.
and you watch them rise to the top.
Nice.
And the documentary actually takes place in the last part of their season. And basically, what they have the last 3 games before they're promoted to the top league in Sweden. I think they're promoted. So if you guys remember Ted Lasso,
Yeah.
they're fighting for promotion into the Premier League.
Yeah.
Same idea.
Same idea.
They're fighting.
Nice.
They're fighting their way for promotion.
Nice.
I really like this story.
Yeah.
The only problem that I had with it is it tried to mix the politics of Kurdistan,
Kurdistan.
Kurdistan, and the soccer from the team, right? So it's kind of mixing. It was very. I wish there was better. There was more of a stance. And the thing with the soccer, they didn't do much talking about it. It was more like a highlight reel. So it was like tracking like the highlighted progress of it. And like the last game was basically like just one big like highlight, like ESPN, like fucking Sports Center reel of the game.
Yeah. Was it like an issue of like not picking a lane, not like focusing on one, like trying to focus on both and kind of not focusing on either?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Got it.
Hang on. But the thing that I liked about it was it shined a light on something that you wouldn't normally know, right?
Yeah.
Because like I didn't know anything about that.
Right. Exactly.
And I actually liked that the soccer team was actually like they're itching for their chance to play a team from one of those countries, right? Because it would mean so much more to them because these guys are people with no country to call their own, right? So it would be the amount of what am I trying to say? The amount of excitement that would go into a game like that, right? Be incredible.
Yeah.
And of course, at the end, spoiler alert, they do get the promotion.
Yeah.
And everything's
yeah. Fuck yeah. I love that.
So I really enjoyed it. You guys should definitely seek it out. You know, I'm a sucker for underdog.
Yeah, of
and
course.
You know I'm a sucker for soccer.
Yeah. A soccer underdog and
exactly.
So yeah, mine is just a slight lack of focus. It otherwise it delivers it. It hits the.
It's a true underdog story.
I love that. Those are good.
Yeah,
I love those a lot.
So it's one we should seek out.
Yes,
definitely.
it's a seek out.
It's a seek out. I think they're all seek outs this year. Like I don't think
honestly,
there's
I didn't really have an issue with any of them.
No, I enjoyed all of them in their own way for certain things, for different reasons for each one. But like I haven't watched one that I didn't like.
It's true. It was a pretty out of what we got.
Yeah,
stellar.
solid.
Yeah,
stellar.
What do we got?
Why don't we stay on the same path?
Sure.
And
soccer?
Nah, not
Underdog?
soccer, obviously. Let's go periodical.
Oh, you want to do periodical?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. As men.
As men.
Yes.
As men.
Which I'm going to lead right. Well, for let's say what it is.
Sure.
So
Yes,
periodical, a documentary all about women's menstruation cycles.
Yes.
From the beginning straight through to menopause and what happens after as well. It's the full gamut of everything.
It's the full cycle.
It's the full cycle, if you will. And I'm throwing it on a list of it is fucking essential viewing.
Sure is.
Holy fuck! I learned so much, so goddamn much.
Yeah, I was gonna say I learned like my knowledge of periods is very limited to start with, and
Yeah, I mean, all of our knowledge is by proxy.
This could prepare you a little bit, Dave.
It's going, yeah, it definitely will, because I'm going to be the poor bastard who has to help her when she gets her first period.
But I mean, like, it was all by proxy information. That's all we've ever had, right? Like, it's always been like whatever you learn in school or from whoever you were close with, like that would share about it.
But you barely learned about it in school.
That's what I mean. Like the amount of information was so limited. Like
whatever I've learned is from like experiencing it with the freaking whoever I was dating at the time.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
It's very tongue in cheek at certain points. It's very like. It's hard. It's like emotional at certain points.
Of course,
it's like you're like screaming at the screen at certain points. It's like you said whole cycle, but like full emotional cycle, full emotions,
all the feels,
and just.
But
I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, I think it did a really good job on the education side as well of just like not treating it like I think it approached it right at the beginning of just being like. In general, the education around menstruation has been severely lacking from the beginning for women and for men. Like no one really talks about it. It's still weirdly taboo. It's something no one talks about. No one.
It's still treated.
Educates.
It's still treated like a disgusting, like deformity,
like a gross thing that happens. And so I think in that light, it was able to, paint a picture of like, okay, this is what it actually is. This is what's actually happening. I learned so much about cycles and like hormone levels and what's actually happening and how that impacts people's moods. And then I learned a lot about menopause, which is the only thing I ever knew about menopause was hot flashes. That was literally all I've ever known.
It's not great.
No, I doubt it does not seem, but like, there's also like, it was hopeful in parts of like the way that things are progressing, especially towards the end. They were talking about like the future. And one of the things that I called out right away is, man, they need fucking a lot more medical research in this field, because that, I mean, in and of itself has been lacking for forever and a day.
Why does it cost money to get fucking tampons?
Fucking A.
Like the taxes,
that's
egregious. But you shouldn't have to pay for them in the first place. They're essential.
No, they are essential.
They're fucking essential.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
like whoever started making people pay for those, like, fuck you.
Fucking capitalism, Ren. Like, that's right from the beginning.
Christ.
But even the fact that like the first pad was like what, 1920 something or 19 World War One.
I like that. I like it was the nurses that became
the nurses
that realized the bandages were better than the rags they were using. I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
And they were talking about like the 1600s where they were just fucking like rolling up a thing and just shoving it in.
Oh God.
Like, oh yeah, okay.
I liked how they were kind of like tracking like how you think about periods type thing. And they specifically mentioned Carrie, because the first thing I think, I haven't seen Carrie in full, but the first thing I think about is fucking Carrie.
Yeah. Yeah, I think mine now has been supplanted by Big Mouth, because I often think about that episode.
I like that Big Mouth showed up and
because it's becoming that was to their point of like it becoming a little bit less taboo and a little bit easier to talk about, and it's being represented in media more now than it was.
Positively
represented. Not as opposed
to just being like, oh, she's pissed off because she's on her menses.
Yeah, exactly.
And I like that wet ass pussy shows up.
I appreciated that.
I was like, all right.
That's the energy we were really gonna go for.
But yeah, I thought it was essential viewing too. I missed it at South by, and I was glad I was able to make time for it here, because
absolutely.
Yeah, it hit me like a truck. Like Jesus.
Yeah, it was
overwhelming almost, because it was just so much information that like you're trying to fucking pay attention. You're like getting smacked in the face with this.
Yeah.
But I also like how it kept like going back and forth between the case and like how like these they were college kids, right?
Yeah,
that's what made it even better. It was college kids that were trying to overturn these laws,
the tax laws,
and it was so incredible. Another underdog story.
Absolutely,
yeah,
and they won.
I just hate that women as a gender is the underdog.
Yeah,
right? Like that's so fucked up.
Yeah, when they were talking about oh God, what, I can't remember her name right now. She started the Miss magazine.
Nothing. I got nothing.
Anyway, when they were talking about that satirical essay that was written about like, okay, what if men had periods? And it was written like the 70s.
Oh man,
and
my
it's just
fucking
like,
blood was boiling listening to some of that shit.
It's been 40 fucking years and it's still the fucking same. None of it's changed. It's almost been
Exact
50
same.
years at this point, and none of it's changed.
Yeah.
It's aggravating.
And how they showed
It's
that
disgusting.
one TikTok where they have the
with the electrodes.
like,
yeah.
attach them, and the
Yeah.
guys are like flipping out, and the
Yeah.
girl's just like,
This isn't even.
this doesn't hurt.
This is not even 10% of my period cramps. The fuck? Like,
Jesus,
so much more.
yeah.
Like this would be, I would enjoy this.
Yeah. My God. I just, no.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Required viewing. Seek it out.
Yeah. And I think it should be accessible.
I think
It's like an MS.
I think it's on NBC.
NBC,
It got picked
yeah.
up by NBC, yeah.
They did a
I
good
think
job.
they were the ones that produced it.
Oh, did they? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So I think it should be kind of like required.
Absolutely.
viewing.
Absolutely. Put it.
So.
You know what? Put it on PBS. Let everybody see it.
Let everybody fucking see it, because
Play that in fucking school
they should.
for the kids.
Yeah, exactly.
They should.
Yeah.
They should.
Yeah.
They should. God, if I knew back then,
Seriously.
like I
Not
wouldn't
that
feel
would have
like
done much about it, but just
at
to
least
like
I wouldn't feel
know.
like a fucking jackass.
Exactly. We were corrupted by the only information that we had, and
The shower scene from Carrie
there it
and
is.
fucking Superbad.
And
Superbad.
They
Yeah.
fucking called out Superbad. I was like, I didn't even think that was that bad. I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, I would be grossed out with any blood on me. Like, it doesn't.
it's
It's that
kinda-
it's period. Sure, it's but
Yeah,
I mean, if someone bled on me, I'd be like, like,
Yeah.
ew.
Yeah.
I'm not defending Superbad.
Yeah,
Superbad
don't-
has not aged well.
some of it has,
Some of it
has not.
Some of it has
You
not.
are right. You are right. It definitely, now looking back on it, you can tell it was written by two 14-year-old kids.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But since we're talking about women, should we just jump into Smoke Sauna Sisterhood?
I was
Ooh.
gonna say it was a good double feature. I watched these two back to back.
I did too. Actually, speaking of,
I did not, but yes, you are right. It is a good double feature. This is
very good double feature.
This is raw, fucking avant-garde, fucking
Which way did you go?
emotional.
Smoke sauna and then periodical, or periodical then smoke sauna?
I went periodical then smoke sauna.
That probably was a poor choice.
Why?
Because I felt periodical was slightly more, like, it's still aggravating at points, but like a little bit more lighthearted in its content delivery, because that gut punch that happens in the sauna,
But
I was so captivated.
the most brutal one towards the end,
They're all fucking gut punches.
the fucking rape.
Yes, I
Yeah.
knew you
That
were getting
was
on about the rape.
insane.
Oh yeah,
Like
Yeah.
I was not prepared.
that was rough.
Like
That was
anyway,
really
it ended
rough.
up being like a nice, I don't want
Yeah.
to call it a palate cleanser. It was just something that was not as heavy as sitting
Yeah.
there watching that unfold and reading that and going, holy fucking God.
So it's just a sauna, and it's women.
Sauna in Estonia,
Yeah, women talking about
Women
their
talking.
experiences
Yes.
being women
being women the entire
and
time.
The entire
Talking
time.
about their truths, basically,
Yep.
and sharing their truths.
Some
Sharing their
chants.
truths.
Yeah.
Some polar dips.
That
But a
polar dip
lot
looked
of-
fucking cold. Good
Oh, that
God,
looked
that
real
looked
cold.
cold.
That's the sauna way.
Yeah.
I do want to say, like, as a person that has sauna'd and has done Northern European sauna style, it's a good place to get a lot of your shit out. Yeah. I get it. So like from a setting location for doing that, I think that was really cool. And also finding out, like, at the end they mentioned that it's like a UNESCO intangible heritage thing. Like it's protected.
Yeah.
Estonian saunas are a protected thing, which was like, oh, I didn't even know that. So that was fun to learn, I guess.
I don't know where I did it, but I did do a sauna and then go into like the cold bath type thing.
Yep.
But I've never like jumped into the
Into a
fucking
lake. Yeah.
It won the World Cinema Documentary Directing Award out of Sundance, which it
I think it deserved.
Yeah.
definitely
Definitely
deserved. As I was
deserved.
saying before you started going on
Sorry.
about things,
Yeah.
it's very raw, very abstract.
very
Like you
Yeah.
only really see the face of one woman, the one who kind of runs it. Everyone else, they're very obscured.
Most are obscured. There was yes, you're right. It's the main woman that runs it, and then there was the other woman who had the shaved head.
Yes,
that's really the only two faces you see.
Yeah.
The rest,
everyone else
bodies.
is kind of obscured. Most of it is bodies. It's all like everybody's naked, but it's like the most non-sexual nudity I've ever seen in a film. And yeah, it's just.
You're there for an intent, like you're there for the intents that the director had in this one.
You cannot look away from this. Like I was glued to the freaking screen. I was not expecting this.
Tony,
yes,
as a filmmaker and someone who knows about cameras,
yes,
how did they manage to film it without the camera getting all fogged up?
They probably had it in a box.
Okay, because that was what I kept thinking.
Almost like a crash box.
Because there's some parts where it's like the point is it's all foggy, but then there's other parts where like they're pouring the water onto the stones and stuff. And I was like, why is the camera not getting affected?
They either had it in a crash box, or they actually had like the special like camera that can like withstand like that temperature.
I was gonna say, first of all, the temperatures are hot in those. It's less of a steam sauna, though. They are occasionally adding steam to the room by pouring, but it is a dry heat, so generally it won't fog up as much. That's why they were like cooling themselves down by actually putting water on instead of throwing it on the stones. So you're probably right with it just being in like some sort of protected vessel. And for the most part, they would have gotten all the shots they could have.
Okay, just because I was very curious how they would have gotten some of it. Just like my experience with saunas, it's hot.
Yeah,
like I can't imagine,
hot.
And like I can't wear my glasses.
Yeah, so depends on the sauna, but yeah. And this was like a wood burning sauna, so I think it burns a little differently. It does a little bit different things, but yeah, I get that.
That was my question when I was watching it. But yeah, very heavy, very
like the shots. Like it was beautifully shot.
So the cinematography in it was incredible. The whole friggin' movie, like it completely took me off guard. I was not expecting this at all.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite parts actually was when they were talking about Tinder, and they were talking about
they
were talking about dick pics. And the one girl was just like, I didn't know what it was. I thought it was an app.
Yeah. Like I like it. It did a good job balancing sort of some of the heavier aspects of life as a woman versus some of the like the lighter and heavier. Like it didn't. It wasn't all relentless, terrible shit all the time. It dealt with various different subjects. It dealt with an entire coming out story. It dealt with abortions. It dealt with just being a woman. It dealt with the body image. It dealt with
body image. The one girl had breast cancer.
The
rape, assault, obviously.
Rape. Yeah. And it had such a variety of topics in there. Some approached in a lighter sense, some a little bit heavier, but I felt like the gravitas when it needed to be there was there. And like you're just kind of sitting there with them, listening.
And then just because we were talking about periodical first before this, like the one woman is on her period, and like it's just very stark and very just like it's just there.
Yeah.
It's just there. Like there's certain part where it's like you can see it dripping, and I was like, I don't know if we needed. Like we already got the point.
You need the visual.
But you need the visual. It was just very stark and very like raw.
Yes. Yeah. Very raw. I really liked the way that it was shot. I liked the way that it was looked. And I liked just the way that they approached it.
Even the editing too, right? Of like mixing between when they go outside and then when they're in the sauna and everything. It was
some chants involved.
Yeah, the chanting and like
the
when
massage
the
when they're hitting
with the branch thing.
And I liked how they got them. There's shots of them when they were getting it together and they were like cutting the bottom and making it all ready to go. Like it was just such a beautiful documentary.
Yeah, absolutely. It the fact that it won an award deserved.
It deserved. Well deserved. Yeah, definitely.
I hope no one really kind of forgets about this. I'd like to see that one come forward for like documentary feature.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Next year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it gets out.
Oh,
more people seek this out
because people are able to see this one.
It's a special one.
I agree.
I don't think I've seen like it was one of those things where it had the ability to reframe my thoughts around documentaries in a way of just like, oh, you know what, this is a documentary. Maybe not in the most traditional sense, but it still
But
is.
maybe that's why it works so
Yeah.
well, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so untraditional and it's so like
Breaks the
different
mold.
and it breaks the mold,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Brings a fresh take to
And you're
the
listening.
documentary.
You're listening.
listening.
You're listening
It's meant
And
to
re-
just
and
shut
obvi-
up and
and-
listen.
and reading because it's in Estonian.
It is in
Yeah.
Estonia. That's true.
All right. We got two left. One of them I saw on my own, and the other one is one the three of us saw. So maybe we should go with the three of us.
No, I was going to say, hit
wanna go with
the
me?
one. Yeah.
All right.
Tell me.
Fine. So I had the opportunity to watch Still, a Michael J. Fox story, which was directed by Davis Guggenheim, who did An Inconvenient Truth
Right.
and Waiting for Superman.
Nice.
And it's very heavy. It's basically Michael J. Fox talking about his career and finding out he had Parkinson's and kind of where it goes and like up to when he decided to go public with it
Right.
and kind of like not work as much.
Yeah.
And it's just very heavy. Like it's comprised entirely of like the talking head is just him.
Okay.
And then there's other parts where like they show him like with his family.
Yeah.
And then there's other parts that are basically kind of like a mix between recreations and behind the scenes footage and actual like film footage
Right.
of like his movies
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. And like you can see like it really puts a face on Parkinson's and like what he's going through. And it's really hard to watch. Some of it's really hard to watch.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of footage of him like with his trainer kind of
Right.
like working out and kind of like trying to still be able to do things.
Yeah.
And like he goes out for a walk and he's obviously not walking in a traditional sense.
Sure.
And like he walks like 50 feet and he takes a tumble. And he's like, no, I'm fine. This happens all the time. And then later he's getting extra makeup done because he broke all the bones in his face
Oh my gosh.
on his cheek
Oh my
because
gosh.
he fell.
Yeah.
And that's just life with
What?
Parkinson's.
Yeah. What he has to. That's his day to day now.
That's his day to day now. And it's just, yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah.
And it's emotional. And it's also really interesting because it also makes you reframe your thoughts or kind of like what you know about him. Because apparently most of it, or at the beginning stages, he just had the tremors in his left hand.
Okay.
So he would always have something in his left hand that he could move around so you wouldn't notice. But then they show footage from certain like Spin City or like some of the movies from that time, and they don't like focus in on it, but like the intent is you're supposed to be watching his hand, and he's holding his hand down in certain parts, or he has his hand behind his back, or he's holding something and you could see his hand is moving, but it shouldn't be like, it's just a stationary shot, but his hand is moving.
Yeah.
So it's just very interesting to kind of like reflect and go back and be like, oh, it was right there all along. We should have seen it. We should have known.
Wow.
And then I think my issue is it kind of like it ends very abruptly. Like it just kind of like he like comes out and says that he has Parkinson's, and then it kind of like talks a little bit about his foundation and what he's been doing since, and how his characters now like have Parkinson's, or there's like because they like show footage from Curb Your Enthusiasm where he hands him the bottle. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, so there's like he has like a 2-episode arc on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and he's with Larry, and he hands him a bottle of pop, and Larry opens it and it explodes all over him.
Of course,
and he's like, "What the fuck? Did you do that on purpose?" And Michael J. Fox is just like, Parkinson's. And it's golden. But they show that clip, and I was like, I fucking love this part of this. And they're showing like him in he had like a recurring on The Good Wife, and like his character has Parkinson's, so he's explaining it to the jury type thing, and they're showing him kind of explaining it and kind of how he's trying to like put a face to it. And then they show him with Muhammad Ali, and then like it just kind of ends.
Oh,
like I just thought that there would be more to it after that.
Right.
But then as I'm saying this, I'm also like, well, they were showing him training and stuff and how he was like kind of getting along.
Yeah.
type thing. But I just thought that there
Should have been a different way to end it.
yeah, I think there could have been more at the end.
Okay.
That's what I think. But it's very well done, and yeah, it's hard. Parts of it are hard to watch,
Right.
just because like he's in pain.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
And there's one part specifically where he's like, the director's like, "Are you in pain right now?" type
Yeah.
thing. He's like, "Yeah, I'm always in pain. I'm always in pain. I don't
My
say anything
God.
because I'm always in
Oh
pain."
my God. Yeah.
Because the director was shocked he hasn't said anything that he's
Right.
in pain.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like, "I'm always in pain. Like I don't talk about it because it's something that always happens."
Yeah.
So it's on Apple TV Plus this Friday, May 12th.
Excellent. Excellent.
So yeah,
Definitely
you
seek
should
this out.
definitely
Let's
see
add it to my
it.
list
Yeah, you should definitely put it in the queue.
for sure.
But yeah, like I'm getting emotional thinking about it right now. And we've been talking about a lot of emotional shit right now.
Yeah. Yeah. There was no shortage of emotion this year at Hot Docs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the last one's about
I was about to say this one's and the last one's real
And
emotional.
here we go.
All right, last one, Tony.
Sonara.
Sonara. Correct.
James, what was Sonara?
Sonara was honestly my first question was going to be does anyone actually remember this case?
I do not.
I didn't either.
I didn't remember it.
All
no.
right, good to know.
Yeah.
I was in the same boat as you. So it's about a home invasion that ends in the death of a child,
Disabled child.
Disabled
a
child.
child who had cerebral palsy.
Yes.
And from there, the investigation leads to the mother of said child being convicted to first-degree murder, being sentenced to prison, even though the evidence of such was wishy-washy at best.
Yeah.
So it's very much a sort of like a wrongful conviction sort of deal.
Yeah.
Unclear sort of what actually happened sort of deal based on lack of evidence and the fight to get someone who is more than likely wrongly convicted out of prison. And her story and the story of her lawyers and everything that happened around the case as well.
And the story of the family.
And the story of the family.
And that they're immigrants.
And that they're
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's important to mention.
For sure. There was a lot in this story to unpack. There's mainly like, I think it did a very good job of not immediately just vilifying everything. Like I think right at the beginning, like it just kind of like it started off with like the 911 call. It started off with just basically a raw representation of here is what the first people to witness what happened saw, the first responders who were on the scene. This is what they walked into. And that's it. They just left it at that. They didn't color it. They didn't do anything. It was that. Later on, they colored it. And later on, it was very much like, oh, okay, this is a little odd. This isn't odd. This doesn't line up either. But in the beginning, it was very like, here
Clear
it is.
cut. This is what
what
transpired.
This is what, as far as we know, this is what transpired based on all the evidence that we have without coloring it in any other way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciated. Of it just going, here you go. And then as it unfolded and you started seeing some inconsistencies and the fact that like the immediate first responder was the one that just changed the entire investigation, even though he is very much not a detective.
Yeah, he was a real piece of shit.
He was a real piece of shit. He was a real fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And
Listening
just,
to his tape, Jesus.
oh, and
or his recreated tape. I don't know if it was his actual tape or a recreated tape.
I think it was the actual because I think they got all the court records.
Okay.
But
Because at the beginning, I was a little.
Wasn't his statement like one of like the leading
Well,
things
it was.
into the testimony
It was.
against her?
yeah, it was the thing that set, well, it was beyond that. It was the thing that set the police down a path as well.
Yeah.
Like they just basically immediately wrote off what she said happened, even though she said it. And they mentioned this later on in the documentary that she was interviewed by the first constable, then the second constable, then the police detective, then another police detective, and then two police detectives at the
And
same
she was
time.
grilling for 13 hours and she said the exact same
And it was
fucking thing
always
every time.
the same story. There was,
Yeah.
I think, like one minor thing that may have changed, which sure, I mean, you've repeated it fucking 13 times, but she never wavered in what happened. It was always two men dressed all in black, black everything, ski masks, the whole works, that were looking for a package that was consistent from the beginning. And there was like everything else that kind of lined up to that. And also the very helpful eyewitness who was also dismissed as like not like it was irrelevant. And then even when they got down to the retrial and they were talking about what the judge had said in the first conviction and the fact that like even he had colored the jury against this woman and like basically was like, no, the only options are she killed her daughter or something else. Like, what?
She's lying.
There's no other alternative. Yeah, it's she killed her daughter. Like it was just colored from the jump. So I was very pleased that towards the end you do find out that she's gained another trial. She's not out of the woods, but she's been given the opportunity to have another trial, a fair trial, with all evidence and everything else.
Fair, so, quote unquote.
Fair, quote unquote. But I feel like, especially with this case, especially because it went through appeal and now it's back, it probably will be treated better.
I hope so.
But
I hope so. I'm definitely going to be looking into it.
Aggravating.
Yeah.
Blood boiling, man. Seriously.
Aggravating.
I was a little confused at the beginning, just kind of like, because it says like there's recreations type thing.
Yeah.
So for a little bit, I was like, what's recreating? Like, I was like, okay, clearly the crime scene has been recreated. Yes. But then later when it's like a scene of her and her husband talking, and I was like, is this also a recreation?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
then, not quite sure.
And then my question to you, like, is that a recreated tape or is that his actual tape?
I think that's his actual tape.
Well, he's very comically over the top then, because that
over the top guy.
Jesus fuck.
But yeah, but I mean, you even hear him like when he's on the like you can hear him through the 911 recording too because he's there while the 911 is still on, and he's an over the top fucking asshole of a person.
Yeah.
But
and then I do like that there's still doubt.
Yeah.
And they kind
it's
of
not
like
clear cut.
It's not clear cut. And then how they're talking about like the letter.
Yeah.
And then they have like the linguistics professor like going line by line.
Jamaican Creole and yeah.
I thought that was very interesting.
That was it adds this whole layer of where this letter came from in the first place. And like I'm glad that one of the questions that the documentary filmmakers asked was did they look into this letter? Like she's like, yeah, they made me do a whole bunch of like writing tests to and it's not me. They've ruled me out completely. So
and the family
and the entire family. So who fucking knows where this letter came from?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's an unfortunate lack of evidence, and it just like kind of goes to show like when you're trying to like recreate something, I mean, it's really difficult to do that. Like, and I'm not saying anything. Obviously, the law enforcement in this case, whether first responder or police, made a lot of assumptions and jumped to a lot of conclusions way too early on that led them down only one path. But I think it also kind of did a job of illustrating in a way of like, when there's a lack of evidence, it can become that way. It can become really blinding because you don't have anything leading you anywhere else. You are kind of stuck with just kind of like, well, I guess it's this because somebody said one thing or someone's gut opinion is there, but it's like a gut is not a fact. It's just your opinion, man. Like,
and there's just so many fucked up things. Like they mention that they won, quote unquote, a trip to Niagara Falls, and then it's actually just like a fucking decoy so they can bug the house.
Yeah. Also,
like, what the fuck?
Fucking bugging the house. Like these guys are fucking the major crime family. What the fuck? And the SWAT team to take her in. What are you doing?
Take the entire family in.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You don't need a SWAT team. You woke them up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. What would you think they were going to jump out the window with fucking M16s? What the fuck? Like
they only bring out the SWAT team. I found this out.
Yeah.
Because of a personal experience.
Yes.
Not to me.
Dave's a major player in the drug business.
Not to me. But they only bring out the SWAT team like a couple times a year, and it's for like the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
And it's when they like the regular cops and detectives
won't be able to handle it,
or they're in danger. Their lives will be in danger.
Yeah.
Like trying to apprehend the criminals. So they bring in a SWAT team to kind of bash in the door and like get everybody. 5. There was 5 of them.
You're right. This family of 5, there were 6. You're right.
Yeah.
This
there were
family
6,
of
now
5.
There's 5.
not the threat.
And she's talking about my boyfriend at the time ran down the stairs and then he ran back up. He's like, "There's a fucking SWAT team!"
Like, Jesus Christ,
Like, I
I
can't
can't even imagine that.
Oh, honey, don't worry, it's just SWAT team.
Could you imagine, man? So you're a family of 4 now. Could you imagine fucking just a SWAT team bursting into your house for no particular reason?
Yeah, like.
And then finding out that your place was bugged more securely than like a fucking like a jail? Like, what the hell?
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of flags on the play.
Oh, man.
But I do like that they go through the case, what you were saying about the blinders, and then that there's still some doubts.
Yeah. And then even that her lawyer initially was her appeal lawyer was very much initially like, I don't know, like on the fence about it. And then like as he started digging into it, he went, oh, no, what the fuck? Like, she, at the very least, she was not given a fair trial.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least. And the fact that, like, they would immediately went with murder 1, like, the fuck?
And, like, the autopsy was inconclusive. They don't know how she died.
Nope.
Yeah.
But murder 1, which also, if for our law aficionados, murder 1 requires intent.
Yes.
So like it had to be premeditated.
Where's the fucking intent? Where's the motivation?
I know they tried to paint it as, well, she had cerebral palsy, so she was just tired of taking care of her and this and that, and like, but like that's not fucking
enough.
Just there was no evidence of that. So what the fuck?
Yeah, it was definitely a what the fuck. It was heavy in certain points, and then just
aggravating.
Like,
it was also in Toronto.
Yeah, and it was in Toronto, and I definitely cried when the other kid, the other kid with cerebral palsy shows up and she's holding him and she's being so nice and tender with him, of course, because she understands. Yeah. And just like, I was like, oh, this is fucking heartbreaking. And then you're also like, how could this woman do? Like, there'd be a clue. There'd be a hint.
There'd be something.
But yeah, it was aggravating. And God, my blood's boiling again.
Yeah.
Fuck
me. Man. Yeah.
It was a heavy one for sure. Yeah. It was quite horrific.
Yeah.
So. But also, as you know, and it was the reason I asked at the beginning too, of if anybody remembered this case, because I fucking didn't.
I didn't.
Seek it out, because like this thing, especially for our loyal GTA listeners, this shit happened here, and it's aggravating as fuck.
So it's a documentary channel original, I believe.
Yeah.
Or it was produced by Documentary Channel, and it's going to air there in October. I'm assuming it's going to be kind of coinciding with when she's on trial again. When her next trial.
Yeah. When the next trial starts. Yep.
Yeah. Because I was like, why is it airing in October? That seems so weird. Yeah. But the trial is in October, so it's tied to that. So definitely keep an eye out for that.
Keep an eye out. Keep it on your radar and watch it, because it's worth it.
Yeah. And I think next year I'll be happy to go back and watch some more Hot Docs films, but maybe we go for some more lighter shit.
Oh, yeah.
Some lighter stuff.
Lighthearted stuff.
Lighter.
Sure.
Lighter. Yeah. Like a little more tender, a little more uplifting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Jesus Christ.
But thanks for having us, Hot Docs. We had a blast.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much.
2 years in a row. You guys are
it's been really good to us.
Our favorite festival.
Happy 30th anniversary.
Yes.
And here's to 30 more years.
We'll see you next year.
See you next year.
So back to our regular scheduled programming. Tony, do you have a Shutter Minute for us, buddy?
I do have a Shutter Minute. Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Evil lurking deep inside, its darkness knows no limit. So listen closely if you dare. This is the Shudder Minute.
Darkness lies.
It's such a good theme, man.
Knows no limits.
It's so good. It's so good.
This week on the Shutter Minute, we got From Black, starring Anna Camp of Pitch Perfect fame.
Yeah. I do like Anna Camp.
She was actually quite good in this.
Excellent.
Basically, quick overview.
Give it to me.
a woman is basically crushed by guilt for the disappearance of her child. She is offered a chance to claim her child back.
Oh,
But there's a catch.
of course there is.
Yes.
Spooky.
A spooky catch.
Spoiler alert, it's a seance.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that makes sense. Excellent.
And then shit goes sideways.
Shit goes
Yeah.
sideways. This movie's a wet fart.
Aww.
Dang, it had so much
It's,
promise.
I was excited.
It's not good.
No,
It's not good.
I'm sorry.
Picture any movie with the same plot that came
Yeah.
out in anywhere from 2005 to
Now.
2013,
Yeah.
maybe.
And it's there.
It's
the same.
It's
Okay.
the same thing.
Okay. So nothing new.
Nothing new. What I really did like about this one though is Anna Camp shows a little bit of range. I like her in this role. It's much different for her. But the movie was just very forgettable.
No.
Very, very forgettable. Definitely
Bummer.
don't seek this out.
All right.
Womp womp.
That's basically all I got to say
All
about
right.
it. It's a big womp womp.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I like it.
Very disappointing week on this Shutter Minute.
I still really want to see the one you did last week.
Spoonful of sugar.
Spoonful of
Yeah.
sugar. I still
Definitely
really wanna
seek
watch
that one out. And you know what else you should seek out?
Which?
Fucking Nocebo.
Nocebo. Still Nocebo set the bar for this year. We rate every Shutter movie now on a scale of 1 to Nocebo.
Yes, exactly.
Still need to see not see.
So where does this fall on the 1 to Nocebo scale?
You remember that movie Lair that I talked about?
I do remember that.
It's around there.
It's okay. Okay.
rough.
Okay. So that's no dice.
Rough.
No dice.
No dice.
Well, it was good. Tony, that was like a Shutter 2 minutes, so I'm very proud of you.
Getting better.
Getting better every
week.
day.
Every day.
Every week again.
As long as Dave and I don't derail you, you got this. It's mainly us.
It's
had a
really
tiger.
you guys.
I had
It's
a
really you
tiger.
guys who just throw me off. Main
Yeah,
segment.
you want to talk about our main thing?
Wasn't hot dogs the main thing?
Fuck.
We have another
You know what?
one?
You know what? No, you're right. This is our side shit. This is for, we talked about all these hot dogs that are coming out at various times throughout the year. This is something you can see now.
Okay.
This is the Michael J. Fox documentary that's out on Friday. So this is the now segment. So a little guy.
The little guy?
Yeah.
The little guy that's the gargantuan 2.5 hour long Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Numero 3.
What do we think?
It's fine.
It's a fucking mess.
I think it's a flawed masterpiece.
A flawed masterpiece.
I was just about to say
Okay.
it's a mess, but I really liked it.
Okay.
I think it also helped that I watched Ant-Man like a couple days before.
Yeah,
it definitely helped.
Definitely
That
set
was
the
a
bar
piece
pretty
of
low.
fuck-
That was
Yeah.
that was the
Shit.
last one I watched.
Yeah.
So
It was
See, I
so
haven't seen
bad.
that.
there you
Oh
go.
my God, James! It's
The last
so
one I watched was
bad.
Wakanda Forever.
No, Ant-Man.
Nah, Ant-Man.
I watched
It's
Ant-Man
tragedy.
and then I watched the first Guardians.
Yeah.
Remembered how much I loved the first Guardians.
Yeah.
Then I saw Guardians 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also watched the first Guardians and
Yeah.
remembered how much I loved that. And actually, I think that also skewed me a little bit. I have to say, my first comment, because it was from the jump, some fucking absolutely atrocious editing.
Yeah.
Like real, like, and we're gone. And it's like, what? Like, I don't know. I look back and think about Volume 1 and Volume 2. That was a lot more, it was slick. It was smooth. It was, everything flowed very nicely. Whereas I felt this one at points was just like, oh, we need to go over here. Bye. And like, it just left wherever you just were. There was no like smoothness to it that I think it was
No,
like a lack of polish.
I think, yeah, you guys are right.
Yeah.
It definitely was much messier.
Yeah,
It was much more somber and it wasn't,
for sure.
it didn't have a clean tone.
Nope.
Yeah, it kept but the thing that kept throwing me off is just like it was dark, it was comedic,
Yeah.
it was dark, it was
Wild
comedic.
swings.
It's fucking you're bawling your eyes out.
Yeah.
Oh, you're laughing your ass off
Yeah.
now. Like it was fucking everywhere, man.
Yeah.
It was everything everywhere all
Yeah,
at once.
seriously.
Holy
But
fuck.
I also like flashbacks notwithstanding, much like Ant-Man, it gets right to the shit in 10 minutes flat.
Oh, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It gets right fucking there.
And yet it was
Yeah.
still 2.5 fucking hours long.
it was a long
Okay,
movie.
but some of those battles like go on for like at least a good like 25 minutes.
Yeah. I'm not saying, but it's like, okay, we got right to the action, but also still had a lot of bloat.
Exactly.
there was a little bit of bloat. There was a lot he wanted to say.
Yes.
It definitely felt like, this is my last chance.
Yeah.
I'm going to say everything I want to say.
There was a lot of big fucking middle fingers to whatever the Russos and Kevin Feige ended up doing to his characters.
Yeah. Like it was definitely like, this is everything I want to say. I'm putting it all out there. Like, I'm not fucking going to be deterred. This is me putting it all out, putting it all on the table, all the cards. This is it, guys. Type thing. Yeah. Like it definitely felt like a gives no fucks kind of movie. And it was true. I was surprised at how brutally violent it was. It's so it's really fucking gory. Yeah. There's beheadings and like consistent animal abuse.
A lot of animal abuse.
Rough. That was really rough. It was tough to watch at times.
Like it was like I was just because there were kids there too. And again, like I always think of kids now because I have kids. And I was just like, the first one's very happy-go-lucky type thing, but this one was like much more mature, much more dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
And much more vicious.
Yeah.
And, you know, Peter Quill says fuck.
Yes, he does. He does.
Or fucking. Sorry, he said fucking.
Get in the fucking car.
It was perfect.
It was good. It was like it fit the scene perfectly.
Yeah. For where they put that one F-bomb.
Melissa had to do the double take. She's like, did he? And I was like, yep.
He did.
First time in the MCU.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just like thrown in there for funsies. Like it
no,
made
there was
sense
a reason. There was a reason.
Some of the comedy was great. Like that, I liked that. That was hilarious of trying to get her to figure out a door handle. Or the thing, some of it was like, they showed that extended clip of where he's trying to have that moment with Gamora with the suits and like the private channel thing. There was like that clip was either in a trailer or an extended clip thing that they put out early. And I was like, you could have not had that here in a trailer. I could have enjoyed this for the first time. Now I knew all the jokes.
Yeah.
Some of it, like the Rocket of it all, besides fridging Rocket for the entire movie,
I was okay with it.
His backstory,
it was as much his backstory as it was the villains.
Yeah. It was both. Yeah.
It was both. And it gave you your motivation with the villain.
Very much. Yeah.
So it kind of like put you in that mind of understanding as opposed to just being like, I want to rule the world. Yeah. This guy is like, I'm God and I'm fucking judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah. I'm big into eugenics.
Yeah. I'm big into eugenics.
The line that really got to me was just like when it was like, she's like, but God, for God's sake, and he cuts her off completely. He's like, there is no God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I stepped up.
Yeah.
He's like, wow, this guy's not fucking around.
He's unhinged. He's unhinged.
The high evolutionary.
Man.
Like, he is fucking vicious.
Yeah.
And he's so fucking good.
Yeah,
so
he is.
Good.
We looked it up before. Oh fuck! I've already screwed it up. Chikudi Iwuji. I know him. Thank you.
No, I meant he crushed it.
Oh.
You.
Mine was like a 6 out of 10. At least I tried. Mr. Iwuji, I'm sorry. I hope you forgive me if we ever speak again.
Yeah.
I remember him from Peacemaker, where he was great in that show.
Yes.
But
that's where I knew him from.
Yeah. And it's a James Gunn movie, man. He brings all his friends in.
All his buddies. He couldn't even fucking leave Michael Rooker on the floor. He had to bring him back.
Right.
Fucking Nate Fillion.
Like people are upset. People are upset online that fucking his wife, Jennifer Holland's in the movie. They're like, oh, of course his wife's in the movie. It's like,
yeah, of course everybody is.
He's ever worked with is in the fucking movie.
I'm surprised John Cena didn't fucking walk out of there now. Jesus Christ.
Like when fucking Rooker and Nathan Fillion and fucking Sean Gunn show up, come on, you can't blame him for putting the wife in the movie too.
Yeah, he's bringing all of his buddies along.
Like Jesus Christ. But Iwuji, just holy shit.
Yeah, you played that so well.
Like he
terrifyingly well,
menacing.
Yeah.
menacing.
One of the best, I would say, one of the best villains.
Yeah,
in the
and I
MCU
think
for sure.
I think to Dave's point though, the fact that like they worked it into Rocket's backstory and just like gave him so much more room to develop his character that way,
Yeah.
I think helped a lot. Like that went a long way.
Yeah.
Also, Baby Rocket is adorable.
It's true. It's true. Just because I love my social media, I love my Twitter.
Yeah.
Somebody commented on Twitter and they had the picture of the four, like Rocket and his friends.
Layla and Floor and
Teefs.
Teefs.
And they're like, why we should have a Disney Plus show with these guys on it type thing. And I was just like, dude, every episode
all
would
dead.
end with them being horrifically abused.
Yeah. They're also dead.
I mean, like their time, their time there.
Yeah. Okay.
Type thing. But every episode would end with them being abused. Plus, they would entirely
Thrown back
take
in the cage.
take place in the cages.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't really think Disney Plus wants this as a show.
No. As a maybe an additional like 7 to 10 minute short, maybe show.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Did you guys cry?
I teared up multiple times.
I cried twice.
That's unfortunate.
That forever line that's in the
Oh,
trailer
Yeah.
fucking got me.
Yeah.
Got me.
Yeah. I was just, it is long, it is messy, but I was very impressed by the maturity
Yep.
and that there's actual makeup because
Yes.
his
Yes.
face,
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
actual makeup.
Yes.
And they're actually on sets.
Yes.
Like, again, because I'm comparing to Ant-Man where everything is fucking, nothing's
CG
real.
mess. Yeah.
Nothing's
Some of
fucking real.
some of it did look like shit, but it was definitely an improvement from Ant-Man for
No,
sure.
it was like miles ahead of fucking
of course,
Ant-Man. Like,
of course.
like, yeah, sure, there's some uncanny valley stuff, but like,
No, for the most part, I was like,
it was
oh,
very
yeah, no, this makes sense.
tangible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like when they're on that outer Earth, is that what it's called?
Counter Earth.
Counter Earth. Like everybody's wearing makeup.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I like that a lot.
great.
Yeah.
Practicals for sure.
All practical. Like
I would
love
just
the
say I would literally
practical.
just say the only part that looked like shit was the spacewalk.
Okay. Well, you can't really.
But to James Gunn's credit, he did use the set. He did use the production design, and they were in more sets so that they could contain it more, so they didn't have to do CGI.
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yes.
to him,
And he brought in like his trauma stuff too, man.
Yeah.
Like some of it's kind of gross.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is your fucking trauma root.
It was showing. It was showing.
Trauma.
man.
Like kids are gonna be scarred by some of this
Yeah.
shit. But yeah, I thought it was very bittersweet, and there were a couple of surprises along the way.
Yeah.
And I do like the music. And
Oh, of course. The needle drops
soundtrack was
were
fucking
the
banging.
soundtrack
always.
was bangers.
as always.
Like it wasn't as uplifting as the other ones.
no, but the
This movie
tracks
was
that they
this
chose.
movie wasn't an uplifting movie, right?
Yeah.
It was more of a coming to yourself.
The only
kind of
only
movie.
track I don't need to hear anymore is Sabotage. It's it's been
I
like 7
like,
movies in a row. I'm done with Sabotage. We can put that one aside for now.
Dog Days Are Over. You can
Oh,
keep
That
no.
one can stay.
No, that one. No,
I like that.
That was one of
Get
the things
Out.
I did. That was one of the
It
things
was
that I
so
hated.
good.
Florence and the
though.
Machine. You
Nah.
cannot touch her.
I
She-
did not like
There's
it.
footage of her online crying, watching it.
Of fucking course.
It's
It's a nice bitter. It's a nice bittersweet
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
But like I fucking hate
It was
that song.
perfectly
also,
placed.
do you feel like your family now?
Obviously,
Now that you can understand Groot.
yes. Now that I can understand Groot, I feel like
Someone in
I'm
my
family.
theater was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, it's because you're part of the fam. It's clear what he's trying to get to. Obviously,
It's still kind of jarring at first.
Yeah,
when he
very
does it.
jarring.
I love you guys. What the fuck?"
I like that it was its own thing, and it wasn't like Kang.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Even
was
the
its
post
own-
credits or
Yeah.
the mid credits and post credits were not.
Like it was
This
its
is
own
very
thing
self-contained
Yep.
in its own universe.
in its own
basically.
universe. Everybody got some sort of conclusion.
Yeah,
Nobody got done dirty, I don't
Yeah.
think. Everybody got like some sort of ending.
yeah, and I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, just sort of backtracking, the first one definitely was interconnected because that had to do all with the Infinity Stone.
That Yes, but it like kind of made sense because
No,
Nebula
that's what I mean.
and Gamora
Yeah,
were
yeah.
characters.
Yeah. I'm not saying that. I was just trying to think of like all three of them, which ones were more connected than others. The first one was connected to the grander plan because it had to be, because they needed to introduce that stone as well, and Gamora and Nebula because they were going to need them later. The second one was contained.
I remember it being pretty contained.
It was
Didn't really
contained.
have
I
anything. That was all
watched it
ego
before. I
and-
watched it
yeah.
before watching the third.
because I
one,
really
and
want to
yeah.
see it again because I don't remember loving it.
I was just about to say the movie's a lot better the second time
Yeah, I
around.
bet it is.
I
Yeah.
watched it, I think, like 6 or 8 times at the row when I was on a cruise ship because it was the only thing that was playing on the fucking movie channel.
Huh.
And I kept, well, no, it wasn't the only thing. There was a rotation of like 4 movies, but every fucking time I turned it on, it was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm like, fuck. All right, I guess I'm watching this again.
Jeez.
The
So-
chain, man. The
The chain.
It's that the only scene that really just sticks out as being the worst is that fucking ball toss scene. But going back to Guardians 3.
Yep.
It was just so emotional. And like you've built a connection to this band of misfits,
Mhm.
right? And you're there for them for the ride. So it is almost like an end of an era, basically.
Sure.
And like I like that. I like it, how he subdues your expectations. Subverts your expectations, right?
Sure.
Because all through the movie, I'm just like, oh my god, is this gonna happen? Is this gonna happen? And he fucking does it every single time. So hats off to him. And yeah, it was a complete mess. Total. The tone. Who the fuck knows what the tone is?
Heartbreaking and hilarious.
Exactly.
I guess. And violent. I don't know.
Has one of the best fucking third acts in the MCU for sure, and one of the best closers. Like,
I'd say so. Is Cosmo a good dog?
Cosmo's always a good dog.
Okay.
All dogs.
that
are
was
good dogs.
amazing. That was amazing.
She
Can
was
we-
really good.
She was good.
She was very good.
Can we please just get Howard the Duck in?
Yeah, I
Can
love
we-
that
you
Howard
had
the Duck
enough.
showed up.
Can we do it, please?
I love when
Can we
Howard the
do
Duck
it?
showed up.
I just
Oh my
need it.
Without spoiling why I'm bringing this up, where was Star-Lord's mask?
Oh yeah, no, I have no idea. No idea.
Yeah.
Like it just, I was like, where the fuck is it?
Unknown.
And then you didn't see Ant-Man, but in Ant-Man, they literally like wear the mask for like 3 seconds and take it off. 3 seconds, take it off.
Yeah.
It's like, wear the fucking mask.
Yeah.
It's a mask. We know who's underneath
And
it.
To that. What'd you guys think of Adam Warlock?
I was gonna ask you guys what you
Will
guys
Poulter.
thought.
Yeah.
Eyebrows.
What'd you think?
It's fine.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he was one of the best parts.
I thought he was fun. I know a lot of people are kind of like let down that he wasn't like a badass type thing.
Well, I didn't.
I think he was a
but-
badass.
I think he did well.
He did,
but there were a
yeah,
couple of
it was
parts
fine.
where he's looked very serious. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, take
Settle
it
down.
down. Take it down. Take it down a notch.
I
Take
really
it down.
I really liked him. I liked his arc, and I just like Will Poulter. I feel like
My favorite character in the entire movie, our girl Karen Gillan as Gamora, as I was gonna say
Nebula.
Gamora, Nebula.
Yeah. No, she had so
fucking
much more to do
rocked
in this
it.
one
Oh,
too.
man,
Oh
she
my
killed it.
god.
She killed
She
it.
fucking rocked.
She led
that
it.
shit.
She led the ship for sure.
Oh yeah.
Like she was so fucking good in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I will agree with.
She was
100%.
so fucking good in this. And then, because I already mentioned her, Zoe Saldana as Gamora. She
Yeah.
just like recreates Gamora.
Recreates
Like,
an entire
does
new
an
character. Yeah, I was
entirely
really impressed with
different.
that too.
She does so well. She does well as well.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
I think the only one who kind of like gets undercut a bit was Drax. He didn't get as much emotional heft as the previous films. I don't think.
Yeah, and they were just
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, and now we've solved all of your issues.
And then Mantis.
Yeah.
I think Mantis was the only one that was actually done dirty.
Yeah.
They needed more for her.
I really didn't like Chris Pratt.
I like that they didn't focus on Chris Pratt.
I didn't like,
Yeah.
because but like in the like he started off really shitty. Like I did not like how he was playing it.
He was. I think that comes back to James Gunn trying to undo what was done to his character.
Yeah,
That's fair.
that makes sense.
I think when you look at the entirety of the movie, by the time you get to the end, you're like, oh, okay, we're fine again. But
Yeah.
because I think that beginning is him trying to undo that
by
shit.
the time you hit the end, it's like okay, like
Yeah.
he turns it around. But just Chris Pratt's performance was like
okay.
it was very like he had to like work his way up. kind of thing, right? Because like at the start, like I was like, wow, I really don't like this.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't that great, but then it starts off.
Performance of his career, man.
In this movie?
He puts in like the best work of his career here.
There
are certain scenes where he's putting
for
in
sure,
the
but
best work of his career.
I'm just saying the beginning.
That's fine. I will give you. I like that it wasn't.
He had to work his way up.
I like that it wasn't focused on him.
Yeah, obviously.
That I agree with.
That
I like that it
for
wasn't
sure.
focused on that. They pulled the focus from him.
Yeah.
I did like the elevator scene where he summarizes Infinity War and Endgame. Their arc in Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think James is right. It's probably James Gunn kind of undoing, because I know he wasn't thrilled with some of the choices.
Yeah, he did not like it.
Yeah.
And I know he wanted to kill Gamora in Volume 2, and they're like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you wanted that taken care of already. Now he got saddled with this whole other story that he has to work through. And
I think he did a good job. Like,
yeah.
I also think they did a pretty good job in the other films of kind of like keeping with his tongue-in-cheek tone. Like, it's not perfect. Like, you're not like, okay, yeah, James Gunn wrote that, but like, they do enough to like integrate the tone of the Guardians into the larger Avengers tone.
Yeah.
But do you think this is the best trilogy in the MCU?
It's up there for sure.
Trying to think of all of them.
I think it's the most complete.
I would say the most complete.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And I think it's the most consistent.
The others, I think, had to rely on other films that weren't their own in order to have a complete trilogy. I'm thinking like Iron Man.
Well, at the end of Iron Man, he gets rid of the suits. And then like the next movie is like Avengers, and he's like suited up again.
Yeah.
The only other one that I would say would give it a run for its money is Captain America. But Captain America is uneven in that the first one is very weak. But then the third one's basically an Avengers
2.5.
Yeah.
I like the first one.
I like the first one a lot more now.
The fucking when he's doing the USO tour.
Yeah.
The Star Spangled Man.
That
That part's awesome.
Yeah. No, yeah, I like that. And yeah, I like that none of us put Thor anywhere up near the top.
No. And definitely not Ant-Man.
And not Ant-Man. Absolutely not. Yeah, I guess it's one of the best. I don't know. I'm at a point of, we'll wrap it up and we'll get on to our other things, but I'm at a point of, I think, pure, absolute Marvel fatigue that nothing Marvel puts out is doing it for me anymore. And it's just, that's a me thing. I'm not saying it's a them thing. I think it's just
I don't think it's just a you thing.
No, I'm sure there's more that are like me, but
are telling you the same
no, but
story.
I think this is a little bit of their better end. I've been definitely like getting fatigued with you as well, but I think this is like kind of like a return to form.
Yeah, and as I said, like it was fine. Like I'm not saying I fucking hated it. I want my 2.5 hours back. No, absolutely not. I enjoyed it for what it was, and I thought it was fine. I liked it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It was messy.
I thought it was very messy, but I really, really liked it, and I thought it was a beautiful kind of like
swan song.
Sure.
Mic drop.
Sure.
And
I'll watch it again.
I'll watch it again. I like that James Gunn managed to do all three.
Yeah.
That they brought him back for it.
Yeah, they let him do it.
They let him do it, and they let him like do what he wanted.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, brutally violent. The animal abuse was a little much. Like the reactions to the animal abuse were a lot.
Yeah.
But it was much more polished than Ant-Man was. And it's one of the better ones in the last little bit.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I also think
it's also a low bar to clear.
I know. But I also think to the fatigue point, it's kind of like, I think people are going to miss out on it, or are going to
maybe
actively skip it because the rest of the shit, and it doesn't have a connection to the bigger story. Right?
Yeah. Whereas I would rather continue to seek out these ones instead of the fucking bigger story shit. I'm done with the bigger story nonsense.
Exactly. And I'm hoping what's his name has his trial this week.
Yeah.
I'm hoping whatever comes out of that trial, they just pivot and they just change their plans.
Yeah.
And they just stick with like smaller stories like this. You don't need a bigger thing. You did it already. You don't need.
You did the thing.
You're not going to top fucking portals.
No,
You're not going to
absolutely
top
not.
it.
No, never.
Just do simple stuff.
Anyway, recommend?
Yes.
Recommend?
I recommend.
I also recommend it.
Did you guys get the new Oppenheimer trailer?
Did not.
Did
no.
not.
But I saw that it did come out today, so I want to watch it.
It's so
It's a good trailer.
It looks
I saw it.
fucking
Looks really good.
incredible.
Yeah, someone
Can't
made a
wait.
joke about a possible like end credit scene movie on Twitter today, and I almost fell out of my seat laughing. It was like pull in. It's the back of Einstein's head. You pan over his shoulder, and on a piece of paper he's written E equals, and then it just cuts to black. It says Einstein coming soon. Jesus.
Well, Einstein's in the trailer.
I know, that's why. That's what the joke was about. It was just making it a fucking universe movie, for fuck's sakes.
Man.
That's funny.
It looks
Uh,
very good.
yeah.
Can't wait. Can't wait. I don't know if it's Barbie or that one is my most excited. I'm most excited.
Oh, it's not
for.
The Flash?
Barbie or Oppenheimer
It's good.
or the new Spidey.
Fast X.
Oh, yeah. Fast X.
Get the fuck outta
Fast
here.
X.
Honestly, like
The fuck outta here.
Melissa,
For
like,
family.
oh man, Melissa lost her mind during that trailer. She is so ready.
Oh, my God. I can't wait. I'm very excited that I get to watch that. Anyway, Dave. So we're not doing some new blues, but you have two other things you want to talk about.
Yes, I do. No new blues this week. If you haven't gotten your hands on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Second Sight Blu-ray 4K yet, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. I just wanted to talk, since we didn't really have a best, mal, worst, I just wanted to bring up two screeners that I recently watched.
Sure.
So the first one you guys watched with me, it's for Sisu, which is literally a Finnish thriller in English about an older gentleman who's mining for gold, runs into Nazis, and then spends the next 90 minutes destroying Nazis.
Killing Nazis.
Amazing.
And let me tell you,
It's
businesses are booming.
Fuck.
It
yeah.
is-
Definitely delivers on its promise.
It is
It-
fucking
yeah.
awesome.
There's only one thing. There's only one thing this movie set out to do, and it did it.
Yeah,
It's
like some of the better moments are in the trailer, but still, it's still a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's just very simplistic and just like shit gets real and just
Yeah. It bugs me that they put some of those moments in the trailer, but I also understand why, is because it's some random fucking Finnish movie that they had to sell somehow. So
Yeah,
that
exactly.
makes sense. But
Makes sense.
I would have loved to have been surprised by some of those.
yeah. But that movie fucked me in the face.
Yeah.
And it was
Absolutely.
awesome. And Tony, you fucked up at TIFF. We missed it.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'll forgive you.
It's fine.
Was that Tony scheduling snafu?
It probably was.
It probably was.
Damn it, Tony.
There's another one coming up in June that
Could you
that
imagine?
I think that
Could you imagine seeing that landmine come out of the fucking cloud and hit a guy, and you would have had
On
no
Midnight
idea that it was
Madness?
coming?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I probably would have lost my mind.
Yeah. You would have said it was the best movie all year. 5 out of 5. Dave's waiting for the criterion.
Oh man.
Oh,
but it's definitely
Jesus.
worth watching.
Yeah.
It's in theaters now, limited, really more limited than fucking Guardians at least.
Yes.
It'll be on VOD within the next few weeks. If you have a chance to watch it
Totally
in
worth
theaters, bring all your
Fucking
buddies, bring all
totally
your
worth
friends,
it.
bring your family. Just
Bring some
grandma-
fucking
bring
popcorn.
grandma and grandpa.
It's light on the plot, heavy on the violence.
Yes.
And who doesn't love 90 minutes of Nazis getting what they
Non-stop
fucking
Nazi
deserve?
killings.
Every single one of them.
Non fucking stop. Yes.
And then the last one, Blackberry, the new Matt Johnson joint that comes out this Friday.
Yeah.
Canadian film. It's very documentary style. It's shot a lot. Like what it reminded me of is The Office.
Yeah.
Like how like
Yes.
the camera, they have
Yeah.
like the camera in the background just kind of picking up what's happening.
Yeah, and it would pan late or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of that style of shooting, but it's about kind of like how BlackBerry came to be,
Yep.
and then their rise, and then their fall, their
Cataclysmic fall.
cataclysmic fall,
Yeah.
and just like Jay Baruchel is very good in it, and Glenn Howerton from Always
yeah.
Sunny, he's unhinged,
Amazing.
as Jim Balsley. I think it's Balsley.
Balsillie. Yeah.
Balsillie. And he's fucking unhinged. Like
Yeah.
he brings, like when Dennis is yelling on Always Sunny, it's that for 2 hours.
Amazing.
I love
And
it.
he takes no shit from anybody, and it's incredible. He's so good. And the movie is just, it's riveting.
Yeah.
It's like literally they're just talking about parts of the BlackBerry, or like, and he's like, you gotta make me a fucking prototype by tomorrow, and it's fucking thrilling to watch.
Yeah, amazing.
And even though BlackBerry goes to shit,
Of
it's
course.
still fucking thrilling to watch.
Yeah.
And it's very well done. And yeah, Matt
I'm so
Johnson
excited.
knocks it out of the park. And just, yeah, you need to see this one. Not
so
just because we all love Canadian cinema here at Finger Guns, but like it's just a fucking great movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
I'm very
definitely seek
excited to
that
see
out.
it.
Seek out Sisu.
Yes.
Because cinema's back, baby.
Cinema's back.
Cinema's back.
Love it. I love it so much. So with that, we're gonna wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah, I think so. I think my
We've
voice
talked for a while.
Yeah, I had strep throat last week and it was hard to talk, and it's getting hard to talk now. So yeah, I'm pretty much done.
Fine. This isn't Cough Fest featuring Dave and Tony today, so this is fine.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. So thanks everyone. That's a whole bunch of hot dogs. That's Guardians of the Galaxy, and then the Sisu and Blackberry, which I'm very, very excited for all of these.
Yes. And not excited for Tony's Shudder movie.
And yeah, well, we leave After Black out of this. Whatever the fuck it was. Was it After Black?
I thought it was From Black.
From Black. That's
From
it.
Black.
Whatever. Something black.
The Blackening. That was what you were talking about. Right?
The Blackening.
I do want to see that too.
It's a good one. It's gonna be a good one.
Anyway, thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back again in 2 weeks as usual. We got lots more fun shit planned and lots more to get through. I am James.
Big Tasty Tony B.
And Dave.
We love you all. Thanks so much for listening.
Bye-bye.